You're coming up on the Ark of the Stricken Earth. With a stronger sword, hopefully the carapace will come off easy.
This might take a while.
You'll need to swing harder to cut through armor that thick.
What's happening?
Retrieving the carapace is going to be trickier than we thought.
Is she really ready to fight that thing?
Catch your breath. When you're ready, you can climb the Ark to attack it from different angles. Those are holding the armor. Magic isn't coursing through that patch of skin anymore. Move on. Now that's how it's done.
You are unstoppable, Bryn. I was worried we might lose our chance to get the carapace, but you secured it.
Any concerns about using the Archon strand, Dom?
Concerns? None. Excitement? Considerable. We should be able to weave that strand into your mantle, Bryn.
All right. With kinetic magic, I should be able to clear the base of the loom gate. All done.
Nice work, Bryn. We should have enough space to work on fixing that pipe now.
says. What you said about the point roll not being for you. Lane said the training was going well, and then one day, it just stopped. Can I ask why?
Honestly, it was just too much for me. The responsibility that comes with being point. I guess I caved under pressure. Leaping headfirst into danger isn't for everyone. What made you decide to become a point?
Neither of my parents were weavers, but my dad would tell me stories about the Enclave as a child.
You became a point because of a bedtime story.
What can I say? Magic gripped me at a young age and never let go. Now that I'm a point, the possibilities are endless.
And has being point given you what you're looking for?
So far, yeah.
Good. For a long time, I felt like I let Aurea down. She wanted me to continue with the training, but I just couldn't. When she offered to keep me on as a quartermaster, I was surprised. In time, it made sense, though. I always enjoyed the planning of my expeditions, more than the expeditions themselves.
So you've been happier as a quartermaster?
Yes. This is much more my speed. Besides, someone needs to hang out with Arva. Seriously. I'm more than happy to leave the creature wrangling to you.
I'm not sure I have what it takes to pack a caravan anyway.
I've seen how messy your tent is. You most definitely do not.
I believe I was promised one epic tale on how you discovered the route into the Veil's shadow.
I suppose I did promise you. Rumors of a safe passage into the shadow had been swirling among Weaver circles for the last 5 years. They'd always piqued my interest, but I couldn't get a solid lead on it until 2 years ago. Weavers in a caravan bound for Don Brennig told me they no longer had a point. They'd lost an older Casil fellow who journeyed on the Strand Road before the Surge. He insisted on one last big expedition before his retirement, into the Veil's shadow. It killed him, but they got pretty close.
So you got the route from that caravan?
Not quite. The point that died was the one who led them in. He had the trade roads memorized, but it was confirmation that getting close to the Veil was possible. I spent the next few months chasing leads. Eventually, I was able to trade an Ash Peak Drake's Tooth for a map of the trade roads with a dubious Ashar woman in Tarza.
A drake's tooth?
Some people believe grinding the tooth of a drake into a powder and consuming it could have stimulating properties.
Ah.
Fools. Regardless, between the map and the other leads, I was able to plan the route that led us to the Veil's shadow a fortnight ago. The final missing piece was an apprentice point to take on the expedition with me.
Glad I could help. Thanks for sharing, Aurea.
What's a good adventure if you can't regale someone with the tale later?
Two wonders of enchanting, an arc and loom gates. We can touch them, smell them if we want, and they don't work. Maddening.
Did you?
Did I what?
Smell the loom gate.
A little, but that's beside the point. But mossy, hints of sage, a subtle yet full-bodied undertone of dirt.
Amazing. Well, now we just need to get it working.
Oh yes, should our plan succeed.
And if not?
Then it is time for Plan B, which I have not yet thought up, but I'm sure we won't need. They are quite the thing, aren't they? Tangles, I mean.
After what it was like outside the Enclave, the ones in here are child's play.
It is an enduring mystery as to why the Veil's shadow is flooded with them. I did not expect that they would be so common inside the Enclave.
Are they common anywhere?
No. They were theoretical until the Veil went up. And then, of course, they became... political.
What exactly are tangles?
To our best understanding, magic is more than just energy. As far as we know, raw magic is a physical substance, but normally invisible. Our mantles gather it from the air as we move, but tangles prove it can concentrate on its own.
What did you mean by political?
The surge was specifically catastrophic towards enchanted equipment. Explosions, out-of-control activations, you name it. And tell me, logically, who were the most likely people to have enchanted items on or around them?
The rich and powerful?
Well done. So, in a single moment, you have what seem to be hundreds of assassinations.
And decades of war followed.
As I said, political.
You said they were theoretical. What did you mean?
Lane and I have been digging. The only research on tangles we could find were thought experiments until the Veil's appearance. As you might expect, that research was done here in the Enclave. Apparently, they did not publish everything they knew.
Thanks, Dom. That helps me understand them better.
Ultimately, the most practical advice I can give is very simple. Don't stand in the murder cloud. Color me delighted that we're starting to restore our capabilities around the camp. When the time comes, I'll work with Casmin to create some new tools here.
Then we can start weaving more intricate strands into my mantle, right?
Yes. You harvest, I'll weave, and we'll have you channeling such magics.
Bryn, one would think you've been fighting massive constructs your entire life.
It's a newer hobby I've picked up. On account of only having seen one for the first time recently.
Yes, It's quite something to see a massive Archon after studying their role in history for so long.
You seem a little concerned about something.
Oh, no. That Arcs are still functioning in the Enclave is a revelatory discovery. I'm elated, of course.
Very convincing.
It's just... this Archon brings up more questions than it answers. For starters, Arcs of this variety tended to carry a slate bar to help break rocks. It was clearly working in the nearby mine. One must wonder whether its tool was lost in a cave-in? It's hard to say, really. Another mystery, there's no record of Archon hostility towards Weavers. Did they turn on their creators after the Surge?
Is this just about the Arcs?
It's about everything. I suspect we're chasing dead ends. None of these leads fill me with any sort of confidence.
Truthfully, I've been having some of the same doubts.
You are?
Of course. And if we're alone, that makes our complicated situation, well, even more complicated.
Yeah, it does.
All we can do is put one foot in front of the other. If we're ever going to solve this puzzle, it will only happen piece by piece.
You're right about that. More pieces would help, though. Maybe if you track down other Arcs, we might start to understand what's going on with them.
More information about anything trying to kill me is probably a good thing. Though it does mean getting close to the things trying to kill me, which is less good.
Yes, do try not to die in the process, as that would render the information less useful. I couldn't help overhear Dar mentioning the Surge's impact on the politics of our lands.
You really do pay attention to what happens around here, don't you?
A survival instinct. Growing up in Udea, you realize the walls have ears. If some of those ears aren't yours, you're at a disadvantage. That was actually the problem, you see?
The problem?
After the Surge cascaded through the Maida, every kind of long-range magical communication broke down. So you have magical chaos and no way to confirm if your nation is under attack. You assume the worst and retaliate. Udea, my homeland, was hit hard. Our trade fleets had become rather dependent on magical navigation.
And they couldn't find their way home.
Or at least to a safe harbor. You could argue the loss of our fleets was worse than any individual war.
Because the trade network suddenly collapsed. My parents used to talk about shortages during those years. It got rough, they said.
Yes. And the worst wars are fought over resources when people are desperate. I very much hope we can find the true cause of all that suffering. And a way out to share it with the rest of the world after we do.
Well pleased with the reforge. There's another option too. We can enhance your gear.
Not the same thing?
No. Enhance are you worth Did you see the size of that mine?
You mean the one behind?
That's the one. Given their yields,
I've heard.
the land's ores from the on. Nice to work on something a little lighter every once in a while. Perfect.
You think this patch will fix the leaking pipe?
Yes. And with the debris cleared, why don't you tell Arya we've got everything we need to fix the loom gate?
Me?
Acting or otherwise, major communication should come from the point.
I'll keep that in mind.
So look, this plan to repurpose Carapace to fix the loom gate's conduit? Pure elegance.
Sam's idea. I only helped him with the design.
Well, you did more than help. You practically finished it.
What is this? Competition of humility? You're both brilliant, just like this design.
I can agree with that.
I suppose.
The patch is ready, and I've cleared the debris at the loom gate in Glintwood Hollow.
Excellent work, Bryn. time for you to take a well-earned rest while the band heads into the Hollow.
You sure you don't need me to come?
We've got this. And you need the break.
All right, if you say so. Aurea, how's it going?
Bryn, you're awake. We're making progress over here. Careful with that.
Hey, no one came back to camp, did they? Is the rest of the band still with you?
We're all here. And the leak is just about fixed.
Hey, wait, I just want to talk. That was incredible.
Hey, couldn't have done it without you.
Actually, we couldn't have done it without Sev. I didn't expect you to have such a deft hand with magical conduits.
I'm not... I mean... We just got lucky it held.
Not to distract from the victory, but something happened while you were gone. I saw something. Well, someone.
A Hearthsider?
Maybe. The figure was masked and standing at the edge of the camp. I think they were watching me. Before they disappeared.
How friendly.
If there are people still left in the Enclave, we need to find them. They can tell us what happened here.
Yes. I was just thinking we should chase down the scary masked figure that likes to watch Bryn sleep.
Hey, even asleep, I am a pretty fearsome presence. Seriously, though. We just burst through their veil, defeated their massive arc, and powered up their lost enchantments. Wouldn't you be scared of us if you were an Enclave weaver?
That's actually not a bad point.
Friendly or hostile, if there are Hearthsiders, we need to find them.
Agreed.
And the good news is, fixing the Loom Gate didn't just give us easier access to Glintwood, it expanded our scry's reach.
So scries are somehow connected to the Enclave's tapestry?
Every scry was built here.
This means you not only have access to the Loom Gate, but you can safely explore further.
Incidentally, our maps indicate that there is a village beyond the Hollow in a large swathe of wetlands known as Dredger's Mire.
Perhaps we'll find our Hearthsider there. Bryn, why don't you brief with Lane before your next expedition?
Sounds good.
After that, it's time to use the Loom Gate.
Why didn't you guys return using it yourselves?
We needed to take a key swatch back to camp in order to connect the two. We'll make sure you have a key swatch to connect any other Loom Gates to this one from now on.
This may sound fairly ridiculous, but the real draw of alchemy for me is how it grants me the ability to help people.
Oh?
Yes. I enjoy my little experiments, I'll admit. I enjoy synthesizing new and wonderful compounds. But mixing an unguent for the urchin girl by the canal with the flea bites on her legs? That was, I felt, a rather more responsible use of my allowance. Of course, the house would have looked down on that. The instruction not to mix with lower classes was implicit, but clear nonetheless. I even used alchemy to disguise myself so I wouldn't be recognized. I wore my hair in a stark white for a time, if you can imagine it.
Did you look silly?
Striking is the word I would use. My patients didn't mention it, and my apothecaries knew better than to make fun of their best customer. Alchemy is the science of change, and while I am happy to explore those changes both within and without myself, well, I think my natural colour suits me fine for now.
Might change your mind. You never know.
Exactly. Here to brief?
I like to know everything I can before venturing off to a new place.
Just beyond the forested hills of Glintwood Hollow lies the wetlands known as Dredger's Mire. Much like the Hollow, the Enclave prospected many of the raw materials needed for its ambitious constructs and projects from the mire. Oh, it's no coincidence you found the Ark of the Stricken Earth near a collapsed mine. Likely, it was used for the excavation of minerals and metals before the surge. I believe the natural surroundings of the mire were also rich in resources. The Enclave even settled a small village there known as Poldervale.
Which is where I might find that masked figure that was watching me.
It's possible. Regardless, do you have any questions before you head out?
What can you tell me about Poldervale? It seems like it was settled pretty far from their capital.
Indeed. Though, when you take instantaneous travel through loom gates into account, what constitutes a remote village changes. The village was likely settled to facilitate the prospecting of raw materials in the outskirts. Resources farmed here could easily be transported across the Enclave through the use of loom gates.
Apart from the village, it sounds like this is mostly untamed lands. Any expectation that it will be more dangerous than the Hollow?
I would expect so, yes. We've made camp in a way station that's pretty far from Denevron, and the mire yet even more remote. Everything I've read says the deeper into the outskirts of the Enclave one ventures, the more wild and untamed the lands become.
You're saying my battle with the Great Ark might be looking like child's play soon?
Possibly?
Some of the others didn't seem so sure we should be trying to track down the masked figure. What do you think?
History demands we find them. If the masked figure truly is a Hearthsider, their stories and what they've lived through in here would be invaluable to our understanding of the Enclave and of the Surge.
Sounds like I'd better find them then. Thanks for the info, Lane. I think I'm ready to head out.
My pleasure. Oh, wait, I almost forgot. I didn't have the biggest role to play in the loom gates repair. I'm not exactly handy with a hammer. But watching the band work gave me an idea for a new alchemical project. Its working name is a loom shard.
A loom shard?
Yes, it's a shard that could draw magic from a loom gate and bring you back to camp safely, wherever you are.
How is this different from Aurea pulling me back with the scry?
Unaided, Aurea can only summon enough magic to bring you back safely, not all the valuables you might have collected on your expedition. Because this shard draws magic from the tapestry, it can bring you back safely with all you've gathered.
Thanks, Lane.
I hope I'm not prying by bringing this up, but Dharm and Arya told me about your last band.
Oh, yeah.
Sounds like it was pretty rough.
It wasn't great, that's for sure. I mean, I gave up everything I knew to become a weaver. And it only took a couple of weeks for me to realize I had chased the wrong caravan out of town. All that band did was drink and fight. I stuck around, thinking I might be able to make a difference if I became point, but Aaron chose someone else to take his place in the end.
You're in better hands now. I promise. Even though I'm sure your last few days with us have been a lot. Do you have any regrets about leaving?
I did have one friend in the band, Pelagia. She was their enchantress. She was actually the one who convinced Aaron to let me join them. Due to the nature of my departure, I wasn't able to say goodbye. I thought I would send her a letter the next time we stopped in a town.
Then we tumbled through the veil.
Yeah. I don't know what she must think of me.
If she's a true friend, she'll understand.
I hope so. Friends like her are rare.
That's what makes them special.
So, now that I'm done being frigid and unwelcoming.
You were only lukewarm.
Sure. How about an icebreaker? To get to know each other better.
Sounds fun. What have you got?
Simple. If you were a wild animal, what would you be?
Ooh. I think I'd be in a color.
Why is that?
Aggressive, but they hunt in packs with close bonds. I love adventuring, but a kick-ass team is what makes it meaningful.
Huh. I like that.
And yourself? What animal would you be?
An eastern reef crake.
A crake? Somehow I pictured fewer tentacles and destroyed ships in your wake.
You're thinking of the big ones. An eastern reef crake is pretty small and harmless. But all crakes are misunderstood. They are incredibly intelligent creatures. And they diligently protect their eggs. They actually only attack when their nest is under threat. So yeah, I'd be a crake. Happily living underwater. Normally, when you crack jokes in the face of dire circumstances, hives start breaking out on my skin.
Okay.
But when it comes to the masked Hearthsider, you might have a point. He could be scared of us. We are disassembling their enchantments left and right. And in the case of their arcs, dismembering.
Besides, who wouldn't quake in their boots at the sight of me? I am about as strapping as they come.
And here come the hives.
Ready?
Let's do this.
First trip through the Loom Gate is a success.
That was so awesome!
Can't stretch the scry any further. Can't stretch the scry any further.
The Sodom Pass. A fitting name for the road to the wetlands.
According to the maps, you're getting close to Dredger's Mire.
Designed for a two-hander. Looks like it was being packed up to ship.
It'll be exciting to work off an Enclave design firsthand.
Metal plates with detailed engraving. I wonder if Sola might be interested in these.
I know you're excited to explore, but first things first. Use our key swatch with a loom gate in the mire, so that it's easy to return.
Right. I'll check the maps.
Perfect. I can see the connection. We'll be able to come back whenever we'd like.
Harvesting. Such an intriguing term for so critical a task.
Why do we call it that anyway?
My favorite explanation is that it implies a thoughtfulness. When we harvest a creature, we pull something out of its essence. It is, fundamentally, a violent act. But we harvest predators, ones that pose a threat to us. There are peaceful or merely territorial creatures that use magic, but Weaver custom is to never harvest them.
That makes sense. I like that we're selective about it.
Further, Weavers do not seek to eradicate these creatures, merely keep them in check. Slaughter them all, and we not only lose access to more strands, but also risk disrupting the ecosystem. You've heard of Renland's famed attempt to cull their Akala population, and the mass loss of crops due to too many deer, yes? Same thing. Even something as wild as an Ash Peak drake plays a role in the world.
Brutish, yet elegant. The tricky part's the balance. Form and function.
I'm proud of this one.
Kept it light for agility. This one strikes a good balance.
My darling, I suspect the way the light filters through the Enclave's veil makes you look more luminous than ever.
Stop. It'll go to my head.
Should I come back later? I didn't mean to interrupt you two.
Sorry, Bryn. Sometimes we get lost in our little world.
But since you're here, I was actually hoping to speak with both you and Sola.
Oh?
I don't know if you know this, but my wife is an extremely talented smith who was apprenticed under a variety of world-class teachers.
Well, a revolving door of mentors doesn't exactly facilitate the most stable education, especially when one of them drops dead in front of you.
Oh, details. You've made more of your varied experience than most could glean from a lifetime. Anyway, I know you always hoped to further your education with the Tarmakine Smithing School's techniques. So, I asked Lane to look into whether or not any Tarmakine smithing was ever practiced here in the Enclave.
Oh, doll. You shouldn't have. It's sweet, but there are other priorities.
What could be more pressing than helping my wife fulfill her lifelong dreams? As luck would have it, there were Tarmakine smiths here before the search.
Really?
Perhaps our daring point might be able to keep a lookout for anything those smiths might have left behind?
I mean, if it's too much trouble.
Of course. I'd be happy to help.
Perfect. I'll leave you to discuss the details.
Anything in particular I should look for?
The Tarmakine smithing techniques are exceptionally complex, and as such, pretty rare across the Maida. It might be too much to hope for anything close to a completed armor set, but prototypes or even notes pertaining to the style would be useful. I'd take anything you can find.
You might be in luck. I found a schematic, as well as a set of engraved metal plates. Is this what you're looking for?
Yes! This schematic is for a Tarmakine helm, and the plates prototype the technique.
Could we forge a helm using the schematic?
Maybe. Give me a sec. If that doesn't keep you safe.
The Tarmakine helm is beautiful, Solar. Can't wait to test it out on an expedition.
I am honestly kind of proud of myself right now. I wasn't totally sure I was going to be able to do that. Like I said, this style is a lost art. I know it's just a small piece, but I'm feeling on top of the world right now.
As you should. This is pretty cool.
Before my mentor, Hilda, passed away, and my apprenticeship was cut short, I always saw myself opening up my own smithing school. Specifically to pass on the Tarmakine techniques and prevent them from being lost for good. Feels like another lifetime now. Obviously that dream died with Hilda. It's been like 10 or 15 years since I've even thought of that.
Hey, if it means new gear, I'll keep tracking down schematics for you. Whatever you decide to do with all the Tarmakine knowledge you acquire.
Wow, that would be amazing. Maybe there's a chance we could restore the techniques after all.
You can do anything you set your mind to, Solar.
You're right. I'm pretty awesome like that.
That's the spirit.
This has all given me a lot to think about. Oh, good. I caught you both.
We are thoroughly caught, love.
I can't stop thinking about the Tarmakine helm we forged, Bryn. I'd written off my early training as a lost cause, but you've sparked my hope.
We'll search high and low, Solar.
To think of it. Traveling the world, sharing knowledge of a lost style of armorcraft.
Yes. I suppose. Oh, Just need to tend to the forge before it cools. Excuse me.
Always so diligent about her forge.
I don't think that was about her forge, Dom.
Oh?
I'm not sure what, but something's bothering her. Just a word to the wise.
Bryn, you are a very good friend. And I know exactly what will lift her spirits. This may prove to be a bit of a challenge, but it's one I know you can handle. I need you to do some harvesting. Pushing your magic into the pattern of a great foe so that you can tear a strand of its power free. Not that you haven't done this before.
It's the only way to grow as a point.
Indeed. And so we turn our collective sights upon an Ash Peak Drake. Our target will be an Ash Peak Drake. Strands torn from their patterns will allow you to conjure gouts of flame. Delightfully destructive. Like all things our band tackles, it's a team effort. Whenever you pull a strand from a foe, I take that captured magic and weave it into your mantle. As a bonus, there are byproducts that I can use to make Solar a small gift.
Win-win. I get magical powers, you get husband points.
We know they've been flying in the skies above Dredger's Mire. It's just a matter of tracking one down and doing what you do best.
My first Drake harvest.
Lot of memories come rushing back when I think about Tarmakind.
Good or bad ones?
Both. I remember the smells. We used very specific woods for the fires when we were alloying. Precise heats and times and sounds. The guiding tap my mentor would do before every hammer strike. Here. Slower. Faster. Breathe with me. No, foolish girl. Again!
Sounds a little relentless.
No more than the combat drills you and Oria have done. It's all practice. Making your muscles carve a groove so deep the action is automatic, so that your mind is free to focus on the intent.
You miss it?
Not all. I missed the stability of a school. Knowing where your tools are, always. And I missed that crusty old battle axe of a mentor. I had so much to learn from her. Still, maybe this is my chance. Pick up where I left off. We'll see.
So, Sola explained to me that she can forge new gear with the resources I bring back from expeditions. But did you want to take a cut of my finds before I hand materials over to her?
What? No. Why would I do that?
My last point. Aaron used to take most of what I brought back from my training expeditions.
I'm beginning to suspect he was even worse than I thought. How did you join them in the first place?
When I was 19, Aaron's band came to my town in Carlhaven. We rarely, if ever, got visitors. They had taken a wrong turn in the mountains, and wouldn't make the trek out without restocking on supplies.
Of course, Aaron's navigation skills were inadequate.
Yeah. Anyway, our merchants wouldn't sell to his band. Khanhanders were still paranoid about strangers in the wake of the Independence War. So his caravan was stranded for a few days. I took it as an opportunity to learn as much about weaving as I could. Aaron wouldn't give me the time of day, so I began talking with their enchantress, Pelagia, instead. She even began to teach me a bit of magic.
That can't have made you popular in your town.
It didn't, but I knew an opportunity like this wasn't going to come along twice. I cut a deal with Aaron. If I bought the supplies they needed on their behalf, I could leave town with them. Unfortunately, people saw me supplying their caravan. When I went home to pack, I found an angry mob on my parents' doorstep. There was talk that my mother might lose her position as a Dalrad over my actions. When I got inside, she was furious with me. We argued until nearly midnight. My father tried to mediate, but eventually, she stormed off to sleep. I remember just collapsing on my bed after that fight. I was heartbroken to have hurt my parents and sure that the caravan had already left. But under my pillow, I found a mantle and a note from Pelagia telling me where they were headed in the hopes that I might catch up. So I packed. I was almost at the door when I realized my dad was still smoking his pipe by the fire.
Did he try to stop you?
No. He just told me that if I wrote often to tell them I was safe, my mother would forgive me. He was right. She did. Eventually. Then we hugged for a long time. It took everything I had to let go and walk out the door. In a few days, I caught up to Aaron's caravan. My life in Calnhaven disappeared overnight, and suddenly, I was a weaver.
I was born into the world of weaving and magic. But so many like you need to desert their pasts to join it since the Surge. Do you ever regret it?
It might sound cold, but no. I just never fit in Calnhaven. I needed a way out, and I don't think another one would have come. Not that I fit with Aaron's band either, but once I started going on expeditions, I just knew this was what I was meant to be doing.
However rocky, the road did lead you to us in the end.
Exactly. Ever since my last night in Calnhaven, I've just kept my eyes on the horizon.
My mother always said all we can do is learn from the past, not hold on to it. Everything you went through with Aaron will make sense someday. I'm sure there's more of him to tell, but for now, thanks for sharing.
Sapper's Lake. The surrounding trees emitted an alchemical sap. It was a sought-after resource.
the Archon expands. Pre-Surge, the Arks trod this passage daily to transport and farm resources from the outskirts.
Another Drake.
This one doesn't seem as aggressive. Must not be rutting.
Should leave you alone unless you get close.
This is Poldervale, but what happened? The village is completely frozen.
This can't be natural.
I think it's safe to say no one lives here. Where else could I look for a hearthside?
I can't quite remember why, but something tells me you should search for a watchtower. The maps indicate there may be some nearby.
Doubt security would be active if the village was vacated.
Just trust me on this. I've got some cross-referencing to do.
All right, Bryn. You heard them.
Watchtower. Got it. There's a watchtower ahead.
Found the tome I was looking for. It mentioned that key swatches were held by security in the Enclave's more remote villages. It ensured their loom gates could be reconnected to more central locations if needed. Perhaps our Hearthsider won't be in the watchtower, but a key swatch to Denevran could be.
Genius, Lane. Nice work.
Just like home. You're round a corner and a glacier's right there to greet you. Solar, any thoughts on how I might go about withstanding cold temperatures while I search for the key swatch?
With the right materials, any design for armor could give you some resistance to frost magic and cold temperatures.
What kind of materials could I bring you?
A Kala hide would do the trick for one.
There are plenty of those prowling in the outskirts. Thanks for the insight.
You know there's a trick to picking your armor when dealing with temperature.
Do tell.
If you're going to be up against extreme cold or heat, lighter armors can be the better choice. They can't provide raw protection like steel, but metals also move temperature very quickly. Lighter armors layer cloth and leathers. Much better for insulation, especially if you pick the right ones.
I'll keep that in mind. This place pulls no punches.
So, we're hunting a rogue key swatch in a frozen village. When dealing with temperature, your magic can directly counteract it.
I'm guessing we fight frost with flame?
Just so. Like building a fire on a cold night, except much faster. And the night has teeth and talons.
Unfortunately, I don't have a flame strand yet.
Ah, but you do. It's just not yet woven into your mantle. Thankfully, yours truly can help with that. Years ago, we could travel hundreds of leagues in an instant.
Bryn, do you have a moment?
For my favourite lawkeeper? Absolutely.
I'm the only lawkeeper here, though.
Yes. Doesn't mean you aren't my favourite. So, what do you need?
What was it? Oh, yes. I'm looking to do some experiments with alchemical reagents, and was wondering if you could source me some.
That sounds like something I could help with. What's the experiment?
I won't waste your time with specifics. I just think it'll produce something helpful, if my hypothesis is correct.
Well, my last lawkeeper sent me out all the time for herbs that he'd inevitably just stuff in a pipe and smoke.
Oh. No, that makes sense, then. Yes. Sorry. I think I can help Oria with the Watcher's Wisp.
Oh. After what happened in the Veil's shadow, any improvement to the scry is worth making.
Exactly. I noticed that she needs a break before guiding you again. The tangles were so bad in the shadow, she couldn't use the wisp at all.
The scry has been better inside the Enclave. But we shouldn't take any chances. What do you need?
There's a plant that only grows here in the Enclave. It expresses a clarifying magical essence. I think I can use it to strengthen Oria's connection with the scry.
That'd be really helpful.
I think so too. Now, am I missing something?
Where can I find the plant?
Oh, right. At night, in the outskirts. They glow, so you won't be able to identify them during the daytime. And I believe they mostly grow in clusters near bodies of water. Not rivers, but ponds, lakes, you know.
Go to the outskirts at night and grab some glowing plants near bodies of water. Got it.
Well, they have a more accurate name than that. I won't overcomplicate it. But they're referred to locally as Diane's Chorus, which refers to a moment in the Enclave's history early on when their second leader, Diane Ramenos, was elected by unanimous vote. She was the right person at the right time for the Enclave and brokered several extremely lucrative trade deals.
The more you talk, the longer you'll wait.
Sorry, yes, please, go. Bring them to me as soon as you can. Thank you.
Hey, Lane. Got any ideas on how I might go about retrieving a key swatch from a frozen village?
I imagine long underwear might help.
Maybe an alchemical solution?
I'm teasing, of course. Drinking a frost shroud phial would do the trick. It makes cold temperatures much easier to withstand. I have some files already prepared for you. I had the perfect alembic for them, thanks to our recent improvements. One moment, Bryn. I just need to write this down. Stir twice clockwise, filter the sediment, put it aside for Darm's moisturizing cream. Good. Now, did I forget something when last we spoke? I was after some ingredients to enhance the Watcher's Wisp. Is that correct? I know it hasn't been long, but...
Don't worry. No problems there. I know we chatted before, but I wanted to learn more about you.
Well, I came from Judea. You already know that. I'm an enthusiastic student of the alchemical arts. Oh, there's more to my family. I'm my father's third child, but I have 3 siblings. I was fairly close to 2 of them. The firstborn is 12 years older than me and never had much interest in being friends.
Was that hard on you?
It was normal to be in that situation, I'd say. By the time I was old enough to hold a conversation, he was already playing the political game. Took after my mother in that regard. Hold on, I need to write something down. To do. Investigate why Sola keeps borrowing moisturizing cream from Darm instead of coming to me to get her own.
Big list of tasks you've got there.
Like you wouldn't believe.
I've never been to Judea. Can you tell me more about what it was like to grow up there?
Bryn, respectfully, I like to think I'm an open book, but as I said, I have quite a big list of tasks to complete. You do, too. Let's try and make a dent, shall we?
Of course. Catch you later.
Sola seems pretty pleased with the upgrades to her forge. I think she might want to thank you, Bryn.